In this video, I'm going to talk you through my fitness goals as a dad and someone who runs their own business. Now, the reason why I want to do this is because I know so many dads lose their way with their health and their fitness when their kids come along, and it's not easy. And I figure by documenting my journey, I'm going to share the highs, the lows, the struggles, and give you strategies in which you can approach them, but also give you peace of mind knowing you're not alone when you find it incredibly difficult. So my goals over the next 6 months are mainly strength and muscle building. Now, the reason why is for the last 2.5 years, my big focus has been on running, and I basically didn't really run much before, and I've gone all the way on to run, I think, 4 or 5 ultra marathons, and it's been incredibly fun and I've loved it, and I'm still going to run because it's fantastic for the head. But predictably, I've lost a bit of muscle, and 2 things have happened recently that made me want to focus on building some muscle again. One is I was carrying my daughter Poppy home from town. It's about a 1.5 kilometer walk. Normally I'm fine, but halfway home I was struggling more than I'd like to struggle, and I managed to carry it all the way home, but I was a bit like, need to build some strength up. So the first reason is mainly for my kids, so I can keep being their super hero, their super dad. The second reason is because I have lots of Reese t-shirts, which I love. They look fantastic. And normally the sleeves feel pretty comfortable, quite tight around the arms. And I slipped one on the other day and it's a little bit loose around my arms. I didn't really like it. It's to be expected given the focus on running, but for me it was a bit of a wake-up call that perhaps I've lost a little bit more muscle than I'd like to lose. There are other reasons why I want to as well. So as we get older, we typically lose muscle, and having a good amount of muscle as you age reduces your risk of falling and quality of life getting older. So build a bit of muscle up over the next 6 months, reevaluate where I am, and then decide where I want to go from there. So in this video, I'll take you through my training, my nutrition, how I worked out my calories, what supplements I'm taking. And over the series, I'm going to vlog all the challenges I face as a dad, with holidays, weekends taken up with family stuff, and what I do about it. Now, I will say I am an online personal trainer, and I've got a 4 weeks free coaching below. So you can always go on that if you want to start your own journey. But off the bat, the main goals that I want to aim for, I want my body weight to increase 0.25% per week. And I'll show you how I track that later in the video. I want my strength in the gym to go up, which again, I'll show you how I track. And I want to keep being a present dad, which hard to track, but my wife keeps me honest with that. And we always have conversations in bed where we talk about our day, and I'll use that as a reflection piece for that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk through training. So the first thing I did is an audit of my current week. I looked at everything that I have going on between work and family, and typically how many times a week could I train and where could I train? Could I train at home because I've got my little home gym here, or could I train in the gym? After looking at my week, I can train anywhere from 3 to 6 times depending on what's going on with family and events and different things like that. So that's the starting point. I can do 3 to 6 sessions a week. Now, where my goal is muscle growth and building strength, the foundation of my training needs to be strength. Where my goal before was running ultra marathons, the foundation of my training there was running. And then the resistance training complemented that by keeping the risk of injury as low as possible by keeping my legs strong, basically. So for the best chance of building muscle, I need to do 3 to 4 strength training sessions a week. Now, the other 2 sessions, if I can get them in, I'm going to do cardio. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One, it's fantastic for headspace and mental health. And for me, that's incredibly important, especially when it comes to kids, because I love my kids so much, as every parent does. But being a parent and being a dad comes with its stresses, as does running my own business. And going for runs when I don't have an injury is one of the best ways I can create headspace for myself. And so the other 2 sessions a week I want to use for some form of cardio. Now, the things I'm focusing on in my strength training to stay motivated are going to be the volume load. So volume load is essentially reps times sets times the weight. And I want to see that increase over time. So each workout, when I track the weights, I can look back at what I lifted in my last session. And knowing that flicks a switch in my brain where I'm then incredibly motivated to try and beat my previous week's numbers. And that helps me train harder, and it helps me stay focused in the gym session. Now, I know not every session I'll feel as motivated as I currently feel at the moment. So if I'm up in the night because my son's called me into his bed and then kicked my ribs in, and I've barely got any sleep, success isn't going to be beating the previous numbers because it's going to be quite hard to do. Success is going to be getting in and doing that session. And the other consideration for my workouts, which is what I do with a lot of my clients too, is I've built a program I can do at home or in the gym. And the reason for that, sometimes it's nice to go to the gym and train there and be around other people. Sometimes I'm really busy and all I can do is just 30 minutes here, or I want to do a workout with my wife and we train here together. So I've got that flexibility as well, which helps adherence and helps long-term progress over time. The main lifts that I have that I'm really focused on improving, for my chest is the 20-degree dumbbell press. My adjustable dumbbells go up to 32.5 kilos, so I want to max them out at some point, and then I'll just have to train more in the gym. For my back, I'm focusing on pull-ups, and I want to be able to do 3 sets of 10 bodyweight pull-ups, potentially with weight. I reckon I'll be able to do it with weight by the end of the 5 to 6 months. And for my legs, I'm focusing on split squats or some sort of split squat variation. So I might go for Bulgarian split squats, but at the moment it's split squats and they are not fun to do. And any clients watching who have them in their program, I want you to know I do them too. And so long as these exercises increase in weight over time, I'm happy and I know I'm making progress. I'm tracking progress in 2 ways. One is with a coaching log, which I use for my clients, and this is an example of mine. I track all of the metrics that I need to here. So when I have my weekly reflection and I look at what progress I've made and whether I can make any changes, this is where I see all of the data. And then I can quickly say, this is what I need to do. I might need to increase my protein, reduce my calories, and I know what I need to do. Then I just need to think about how I do that. And this is something I do with all of my clients as well. I can quickly identify what's holding a client back. And then I can say, okay, you need to increase your protein across the week. But then I'll actually go into MyFitnessPal, have a look at the foods they're eating, the meals that they're having, and make suggestions that way. So to track my training, I'm using this training log here, and I can see how much weight I'm using each session. I can see how much the load is going up. I can see how many reps I do. And then when I go in to each session, I know what weights I need to beat to, which makes it so much more motivating. All right, now let's talk about nutrition. So the first thing I did is get an estimate of how many calories I expend per day and use that as a guide for how many calories I should have. At the end of the first full week of tracking, I hit around 2,700 calories and my weight went up 0.19%, which is pretty good. So I know I need to eat around that. Protein, I want to get above 180 grams per day, and that's based on 2.4 grams of protein per kilo of lean body mass. Now, the way I typically eat during a day, and I think this is the same for most dads, there are some meals I can control and other meals that I can't. So I can control my own breakfast, I can control my own lunch, but we do have a family dinner and I can't really control that meal. For the meals I do control, I know how many calories are going to be in them, I know how much protein is going to be in them, and then when I get to dinner, I know I'm always going to have between 600 to 800 calories to have whatever the rest of the family is having. Ultimately, to make this work with family, you need to be eating with your family if everyone's eating together. That's one of the ways we can build a more flexible plan, by just understanding what you do with your family and making sure we don't touch that. Another example of that, some of my clients have their Friday night is like a pizza night, but they've got an uni oven and they make their own pizzas with the family. We just make sure they've got enough calories for that, and then whether they're trying to lose fat, build muscle or performance, we can work it all in. Now, with supplements, the only reason I take supplements is if I think there's going to be a deficiency or if it will help either my health or performance. The ones I currently take, vitamin D3, because I live in the UK, the days are getting darker, it's currently November, and it's, not the most fun time of year. So there's not much sunlight, so I take vitamin D3 and K2. I take omega-3 because personally I don't really like fish that much, so I don't get omega-3 in my diet, so I need to supplement it. And I also take magnesium biglycinate. That helps sleep quality. It's one of the most depleted micronutrients with stress, so pretty much everyone needs to take it, and it helps me sleep better, which helps recovery. And then the final one is creatine monohydrate, which helps performance but also helps cognitive function. And there's recent research that shows it can help tiredness and improve performance when people are tired, which as a parent, I'm sure you can understand, comes in very handy on some days when your kids don't really sleep through the night. But anyway, that's my nutrition. As I said, currently at the end of week 1, and to give you a quick review of that, it's gone really well. My weight's up 0.19%, which is good. My strength in the gym has gone up across all of my lifts, which is fantastic. And one of the mental struggles that I'm going through, which isn't a struggle, but it's something I'm aware of, where weight is going to go up, there's going to be a small portion of that which will be fat, which means I will look less lean than I do at the moment. And while that's fine, all part of the parcel, because I can put on some body fat and still be healthy, because that's a range, and I'm well within the leaner side of it. Mentally, it's a little bit harder to accept that, but I'm getting around that by focusing on strength in the gym, my energy levels, and how I'm feeling with my kids with playing. And I've got more energy for them. I was carrying them around the supermarket earlier today. Here's a video of that. And it was easy, to be honest. And that's because I'm eating more calories, because I'm strength training more. So that's one of my struggles that I'm going through at the moment, but it's just a case of focusing on the benefits. The next week is quite a busy one, both with work, but also we're busy all weekend, so I can't really train at the weekend. So instead of getting frustrated that I know I'm not going to be able to train for as long as I want, so instead of getting frustrated, I know a good week over this week is going to be 3 strength sessions and 1 cardio. So that's my goal for the next week. But if you've got any questions, stick them below. If you want to follow along for the journey, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in a week's time.